a 4,500-ton structure. It's massive. It's a floating flow station. It's massive. Now we had to bring it on that convoy. We had tugboats. We have to take off security, 6 gunboats. We have, a houseboat. Anywhere we get to, we sleep. Anywhere we get to, we sleep. The water to here maybe like 5.1 meter. How do you put this on a barge and go through it? Practically impossible, if not for engineering. So what we did at that time is to submerge this barge to almost here. Then some of these structures are sitting in the stool. We take them out, let it sit under the barge, sit on top of the barge. We just go through this bridge with a whiskers. A whiskers. That's how all 69 structures I told you about were safely delivered to Mr. Dangote. Please, go ahead, sir. These are the deliveries we're making week after week to add value in the value chain of the oil and gas business in Nigeria. These are the values. Please, just one more slide. I just want to, all right, one more. Please go ahead. Go ahead. All these are for Mr. Go ahead. Sir, please quickly, sir, come back to that slide. This one. Now we took this thing from my papa, went through Third Mainland, came out at Ekpe, came to our yard. We came to our yard at Ekpe. Now this structure was with us for almost 4 months because they said we are going to destroy all those bridges. If you are coming from Ekpe, from those of us, those bridges are decomposed. They are bridges. They said we are going to destroy them. And they consulted Julius Berger, who built it. Julius Berger said they shouldn't try it. That this bridge, this structure, 400 ton a week, destroy those bridges. We told them no. It has been engineered. With our trailers, you can actually distribute this load along the axles. That even a small truck carrying sand is even heavier than this. And the day which was a lot of storm. But at the end of the day, they came, LASMA came, everybody, the structures. This is the ammonia converter. It was safely delivered. Please, one more slide. I want to show you the largest slide. Just one more before. Just one more. One more, please. That's it. This is the single largest structure. I will stop here. The single largest structure ever built, ever transported from land to a barge and delivered to site for integration. This is the value we bring to this oil and gas supply value chain. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. I'll put your hands together for him. You have done so well. Your Excellency, distinguished with special respect to His Royal Highness, distinguished personalities. One more time, let's put our hands together for him. On a lighter note, sir, he didn't tell us whether he contacted Tom Polo before he started moving it in. Contact Tom Polo. Egberi Papa, uncle. He tell Egberi Papa. Thank you very much. Yes, at this point in time, I would like to constitute the panel with due respect and honor to His Excellency and distinguished personalities here. I'd like to let you know that Chief Dr. Lemon Ikpia, CON, FCNC, is online for this discussion. So without much time, please, I'd like to call on the panel. I'd like to call on Dr. Austin Avuru, my dear brother, Benel, Ajay. Please step forward, please. Take your seat. Take your seat. Because want of time, if I start telling you CV, you won't leave here. No. I'd like to call on my dear brother and friend of time immemorial. I'm talking about Dr. Gabriel Obeche, founder, CMD, Rain Oil PLC. Put your hands together for him. Take a seat, sir. Anyone you choose. As long as it's raining oil there, you can sit. I didn't tell you that Chief Austin Avro, the chairman, AA Holdings Limited. And now I'd like to call on Deacon Chris, UAA, MD, CEO, Wellman Group of Companies. So I'll put your hands together for Deacon Chris. Deacon Chris, please take your seat. And while yes, I believe that I considered, but Mr. Alfred Akogu, that's the founder, CMD, Ako Group PLC, is online. And of course, Kasmai Madukokwa, also online. Thank you very much. Please, we put our hands together for Israel Majesty. We rise. Rise. His Royal Highness stepping out. Please, let's give him that respect. I didn't know he was stepping out. Thank you very much. May God bless all of you in Jesus' name. Then you can have your seat. Please be seated. At this point in time, I'd like to hand over the microphone to the moderator of this panel, none other the chief celebrant, Professor Pat Utomi. I make both to so quintessential Professor Pat Utomi. Sir.
Well, thank you so very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Two quick issues where we're going to be like running through this because
Yes,
we've lost a lot of time. We have another program starting in less than 30 minutes in Ibuzo and it's church. So we're going to proceed. I'd like to invite the Honorable Alan Chairman 10 to please just join us and we'll take some, so we can draw from the Ghanaian experience. We've got a very formidable panel. I'd like to start from the top of the stream and we'll work our way down. We know that Austin Avuru has been a major player, starting out as a geologist and moving through a lot. His CV is in the brochure, so you'll see it. I just want Austin to give us a sense for what inspired him and how young people can see opportunity in oil and gas and what is his current state of play in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Let me, I will start with the first story that Agbogidi told and the lessons from the Wellman Group. You know, it's been 70 years since our first discovery of oil in Nigeria. And it's been 68 years.
Oil came with me.
Yes. And it's been 68 years since we started producing oil. And Agbogidi said, that young man said the harvest was not over, that the oil was flowing, but the revenues were flowing outside of Nigeria. So for 68 years, we have had production of oil and gas as a resource, as raw material. That raw material has been flowing outside of Nigeria to create energy security for other nations. So those nations have industrialized using the resource, this raw material that they took from here. And what we were collecting these 68 years was rent. I'll use a very, very simplified example in the village to illustrate this. You find a prosperous farmer with 4 wives and 22 children. He has large swaths of farms because he has a large population. Both his children and him, they have several barns of yam. The wives, some are trading, some are farming tomatoes and so on. At the end of every year, the totality of their harvest, which means all of the human resource in his home that was applied into turning the ground to yam and tomatoes and everything they sell, that is the GDP of that family. In the simplest form, that's the definition of GDP. So if you do not apply your population to transform your natural resources into value, you are only collecting rent. Which is why for 68 years, in spite of all the value out of oil and gas, it has only accounted for between 7 and 11% of our GDP. You would have thought it will account for about 50, 60% of our GDP. So what have we failed to do, and why have we created poverty with our oil and gas? We have sent our oil and gas to develop other economies, to industrialize other economies, until about 2010, the total consumption of natural gas in Nigeria was 300 million scoff a day. It's not enough to generate enough electricity for Delta State alone. It's only with the coming of indigenous players that domestic gas consumption has gone up to 1.8 BCF a day today. Is expected to go to between 4 and 5 BCF a day to really make sense in terms of natural gas being a mover of growth in the economy. It has taken us all of 68 years for us to now attempt to refine half of the crude that we produce. That is value add in the upstream. What Wellman has demonstrated is value add in the services sector. So if we had added values, that is, use the service sector, domestic expertise, to transform this resource, raw material, which is natural gas and crude oil, into value. And then, my friend Ugeche, in the downstream, we make sure that instead of we distribute it, including exporting what we produce from these resources. These resources that we have been endowed with, we have created the wealth and engaged all the people, the young population, in such a way that unemployment will be minimal, poverty will be minimal, and then what you see will be prosperity. That is beginning to happen. Maybe it's late in the day, because now you are seeing indigenous companies coming and we have nowhere else to go. So we have to turn the resources into value here just to survive. And, this will be just left. You can see that transforming an economy, a wealthy one, ought not to be complicated. It must be such that the population is engaged to transform existing resources into value and wealth. It's as simple as that. Any other thing you are doing that does not create the opportunity for your human population to go to work and transform resources to wealth, you are creating poverty. Unfortunately, successive governments have captured these resources and the rents that come out of the resources. And so governance in the past 60 years has been about how to distribute this captured wealth, captured rent actually, how to distribute it and use it as a vehicle for further elections and elections and elections. And none of them has bothered to say, how do we transform this resource into wealth for everybody? So all the struggle today is about how to get in the corridors of power, seize this rent, and use it to your advantage and to the advantage of a few people around you. And therefore, for 68 years, we have created poverty instead of wealth. Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. I hope we begin to get a sense of where we are and what has got us where we are. Well, let me move to midstream. I don't know, the technology people, is Alfred Okoigu able to speak to us right now? Is he? We don't want to lose any time at all. If he's not, then we'll go downstream. Because I want to go from upstream to midstream, then downstream. Is he ready? Is he? Okay, let me go to Gabriel Ogbechi, who is, again, proof positive that when people focus their minds on building, they can create significant value. And he's done this in the downstream sector. so that they don't get confused when I say upstream, midstream, downstream, and all of that. What is downstream, and how do you create value, and how can young people see opportunity downstream?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, happy birthday, Professor Utomi. Put it very simple. Downstream is that sector of the Nigeria oil and gas industry that deals with refined petroleum products. So if you're dealing with petrol, if you're dealing with diesel, if you're dealing with kerosene, if you're dealing with aviation fuel, if you're dealing with lubricants or base oil, that is downstream. Upstream is that portion that deals with crude oil, and then midstream is anything in between, especially the refining process. When you come to downstream, of course, there are a lot of opportunities. I tell people that one of the best businesses you can get into is business that gives you daily cash flow. Petrol is one of them. Everybody that came in here today came through mobility, whether it's a car, whether it's a cycle, you moved, and that's whatever brought you here was powered. One good thing is that you buy petrol, you put it in your car, you move for 2-3 days, you burn it off, and then you go and buy another one. So that opportunity is always there. But let me take it from where my brother Austin Avuru has talked about, which is value addition over the last 70 years since we discovered oil in the country. Of course, when crude oil was found in this country, and we started producing crude oil 68 years ago, it was the IOCs, the international companies, who discovered this oil and who started the production. And the same thing happened in downstream. In downstream, when downstream started, we had the IOCs, we had the ESSOs of this world, we had the British Petroleum of this world, we had the Mobiles of this world. These were the people who were the shells of this world. These were the people who were controlling the downstream sector. But one good thing is that in the last 30 years, Nigerians, just like us, saw opportunity in this sector and started investing. I have been in this sector now for about 34 years. I mean, I came into downstream in 1992. And between 1992 and now, I have seen a lot of transformation in terms of Nigerians taking advantage of the opportunities in this sector to actually invest and take control. If you go back 30 plus years ago, the companies that were controlling the downstream in this country, you had Shell, which later transformed to National Oil. You had British Petroleum, which later transformed to African Petroleum. You had Mobil, you had Total, you had Texaco, you had, which other one now? They were the companies that were controlling the downstream. But Nigerians have stepped forward. Of course, let me take it one by one. British Petroleum became African Petroleum. Later, Nigerians bought it over and it became Forte Oil. And today, that company is called Adova, owned 100% by a Nigerian. You had National Oil, which became Corn Oil, and today is owned by a Nigerian. You had, in fact, as a matter of fact, the only IOC that is still playing in the downstream sector is Total. So from a sector that was controlled largely by the expatriates, they've all largely exited. And then on the other side, the indigenous players also started investing. The companies like Rain Oil, AYM Shafa, AA Rano started coming in aggressively into this sector. So much so that today, if you rank the top downstream companies in Nigeria, Nigerians actually control the bulk of that sector. And we must give ourselves a lot of credit. The major marketers today in the downstream sector are largely Nigerian companies, Rain Oils of this world, AYM Shafa, Adova. These are the people who are controlling this sector. And I am happy, just digressing a little bit, I see that also beginning to play in the upstream sector. I mean, I see what my friend and my brother here have done I mean, when they took over the Shell asset, which today has become Seplat, I see what Renaissance is doing in that space. So we can see a lot of Nigerian companies also beginning to take advantage in the upstream sector. Because by and large, Nigerians need to take control of our oil and gas sector, whether it's upstream, whether it's midstream, and whether it is downstream. I mean, listening to Austin Avuru, talking about value addition, he said something that it took us God knows how many years that for us to even begin to refine or convert just 50% of our crude oil production into some form of value addition. Today, thankfully, we have the Dangote refinery refining 650,000 barrels of crude per day. That is value addition. So instead of exporting the crude as crude oil, you refine it and get petrol, diesel, jet fuel, all the petrochemicals that come out of it, all the fertilizer inputs that come out of it. So you are no longer exporting the raw material, but we are getting a lot of value out of it. So I really want to encourage Nigerians, the young ones who are coming, to take advantage in this sector as a whole. Of course, starting from downstream, which is the lowest hanging fruit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. I have to apologize that we are rushing for such a very important conversation. But let us get the experience of Ghana. I mean, we thought Ghana would overcome many of the problems Nigeria had and, you know, leapfrog. But we have not quite gotten information on how things have gone in Ghana.
Thank you very much. But you're talking about a 70-year history of oil and gas industry in Ghana, in Nigeria. Ghana discovered oil around 2007. So we cannot be preaching. By chance. And the role of government is the most important. It is government's own determination to transfer the benefits to the indigenous people that will guarantee that transfer. And for that to happen, a number of things must occur. One is legislation. If you don't have local content legislation, it's not going to happen.
Yes, it took us 50 years to pass our AI.
But that is the starting point.
Yes.
It's the legislation that will ensure that it occurs. Number two, the government has to provide funding support. You see, if you give a license, a oil block, to a foreign company, he uses that license to go and borrow. To come and invest. They don't use their own money. So you can give the same licenses to indigenous entrepreneurs. They will use the license to go and borrow, and then they can participate in the upstream. The third component is technical services and construction. Again, it's through local content legislation that would enable indigenous Ghanaians, Nigerians to be able to take advantage of a whole range of technicals. You are talking about high-level skills, but even welding, specialized welding alone can bring millions of benefits to jobs to Nigerians and Ghanaians. So I want to ensure that we look at the government's role in this regard. It's the same thing when you come to midstream value addition. It is government's policy to encourage value addition that will make this happen. And downstream is the same thing.
Thank you. I'll just take what you're saying and come back actually to Austin. As you know, I ran a series on policy making in the country for many years, and I think you participated in some of them. The Nigeria History series in the oil and gas bit. Funchok Woloku was a participant in them. I'd like to give Funchok Woloku a lot of credit for the rise of indigenous participation. Is my judgment wrong? What do you think? How did we evolve?
No, you're right. He has a lot of credit. He was under his administration that the marginal field program started when he became TA. He started that program in 2002, and a number of those marginal field companies are the ones that have transformed, as Gabriel was saying, into the Seplats and Renaissance of this world. And also earlier than that, the policy paper that gave rise to the Nigerian content law and setting up the Nigerian Content Board also started under his regime. So you're right. So once the policy framework is in place and we're disciplined enough to follow it, then you start to create this whole generation of entrepreneurs that will take over from those who were simply collecting these resources and paying rent to us. But look, it is very difficult when you have had several levels and generations of government that have lived the luxury of entrapping this rent and using it to dole out favors whichever way they want. To ask those same governments to turn around and live the luxury of this entrapped rent and actually create real entrepreneurship that will convert resources to value, it takes a lot of discipline. You can see how long it has taken us to try to transfer the refineries into the private sector. Because we're entrapped with holding on to them, whether they work or not. It took the withdrawal of multinationals for the rain oils and others to step into that space and create value. So yes, government policy and government push is absolutely required. Unfortunately, that inertia to transfer these resources into private, real entrepreneurs that can create value, you won't find that inertia because of what I've described as the trappings of power. And the trappings of power require that these resources and rents remain in the powers, the political space. So it is hard to wrestle, and thanks to Nigerian entrepreneurs, in spite of, and not because of government, we are wrestling these things and these portions of the industry out of government and doing our best to create value.
Oh, thank you. I have to really go now, but I wanted to get Gabriel to give us an insight into what kinds of investment and what kinds of tracks we can travel to be able to be players in niches within the downstream. Because there are downstream niches besides whole value companies, let's say like yours. What are some of the areas that, if you want to start small, the way that Deacon Chris was saying, where could you go into in downstream and begin to do some small things, and you're diligent enough, you can grow?
Well, the good thing about downstream is that the barrier to entry is much lower. The barrier to entry is much lower. And to break it down very simply, you know, something as simple as just peddling diesel, just delivering diesel to homes, 500 liters here, 1,000 liters here. You're playing in the downstream space, and it's a very low level of entry. Building one petrol station in one local community, it won't cost an arm and a leg. You're playing in the downstream sector. So the good thing is then from whatever point you enter, then you can begin to scale from there. I tell people that when it comes to entrepreneurship. It's not really a matter of until you can come with a bang, that's when you can play. No, just start from your little corner. And downstream is one sector that gives you that opportunity. Once you come in, again, I will emphasize this. Nigeria consumes minimum 50 million liters of petrol every day. 50 million liters of, Nigeria consumes 50 million liters of petrol, about 12 to 14 million liters of diesel every day. Nigerians spend 60 billion naira every day on petroleum products. I repeat, 60 billion naira every day. So what it means is that every day when you wake up, money actually begins to flow in the downstream sector. So if you want to play, just come out of your house and plug into it. It doesn't matter how much of that comes to you. Some people may end up with 3 billion naira a day slice of that 60 billion. You may just be looking for 5 million naira slice out of that 60 billion. But the most important thing, just do something. Decide what you want to do and do it. Come in and play. The opportunities are there. And by the grace of God, with diligence, with consistency, with hard work, and with tenacity, a couple of years down the line, you may become the biggest player in that sector. Thank you.
Thank you. As we close, I think I must get Deacon Chris to say one word. You had to find financing somehow. You know, yes, you grew significantly, you know, organically. But when you needed finance, how did you manage? What was the best thrust?
Thank you, Prof. Now, that is one teaching issue across the board, across industries. You know, starting, it becomes, where are we going to get financing from? But our own model was quite different. Like we started, you know, peddling, you know, when the Dan mentioned that, peddling diesel to get some license and being agents, you know, to other big players, and then making some money. Now, it is from the money we made. We never went to any bank or to go and put people and put money together. It is the financial discipline of having that resources that came. We applied that back into the business. That's how we got our funding. I'll tell you, most of all those equipment you see that I was displaying, they were bought from cash flow. We have ever gone to the bank maybe about 3 times. So it is financial discipline. But as a young man or a young woman out there, resources are coming in. That's when you want to get a new car. That's when you want to live in a duplex. That's when you want to change your wardrobe. That's when you want to get a new wife. That's, you know, the list is endless. You know, so it's managing those resources.
Discipline central. We have too much talent to waste hearing more from. But there are bishops who were getting very upset with me. Those have started saying mass about some minutes ago. So I will allow the MC to moderate some question and answer from this while I dash, and we can. I say thank you so very much, and I appreciate what you have done.
Thank you.
So please, yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Thank you.
This meeting is being
the
recorded.
duty of cutting the cake. Your attention.
Yes. You cut the cake. Please bring the cake
There's a
here.
knife there.
You cut the cake before you leave.
And
I know the bishops are waiting, the priests, for the
common
mass.
people,
But
family
is there
members,
need for us to cut the cake?
come and assist him.
I'd like to recognize Dr. Yunus Sotanko, Obedient Movement Global Coordinator. We appreciate you. Prince Yemi Emiko, Shakiri Prince, part of the palace. Appreciate you. The Emiko dynasty.
There's no time. Just a bit more.
Please, while you're bringing the
Prof
cake,
is here.
I recognize National
Whoever family members
Woman
are here.
Leader ADC, Honorable Mrs. Naomi Lazara Abel. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. National Deputy Director, INEC Affairs, Honorable Musa Bakari, ADC, welcome you.
Here, please. Attention.
Assistant National Youth Leader, Honorable Hassana Shuaibu Dada,
Sorry, the
ADC.
celebrant
Thank you very much. Welcome all of you.
is about to cut the cake. He hasn't time to spare. Attention now, no rigmarole. 70 years of glory, splendid man, professor, management consultant, advisor to the president at 27, man of many facets. Happy birthday. Go! Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Photograph with the panelists. Photograph with the please. Photograph with the panelists.
Photograph with the panelists.
Yeah, photograph with the panelists. Operation Kalana, please come over and join them. Operation Kalana, the owner of this facility, please join them for the cutting of cake. The owner of this place, Operation Kalana, please come. Protocol now, first of all. Lower the music, lower the music, lower the music. Please join them. Lower the music. Thank you very much. Okay, one more time. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We have his friends from the US who's going to take pictures with him. Sorry. What's friends from the US? Sorry.
People just say, take a photograph, please, quickly. Is in a hurry. Please, in a hurry. People just assist program, please join him.
Yes, Prof friends from the US, please. Join them. Doctor, join them, sir. We're ready. We're ready, please. All right, sir. Go for it, sir. All right, sir. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, good.